Hey everyone, let's talk about how to turn your contour line drawing into a drawing that is shaded with value. Remember, when we shade with value, we want to use the entire range of your value scale. So go back and review your value scale so that you're seeing your lightest value to your darkest value. We're going to use both your 2B and your 6B pencil. Before we start shading, make sure that your contour lines are really light. If your contour lines are too dark, take a kneaded eraser and kind of blot over your lines so that they are a little bit lighter. We're gonna start here at the top. I'm gonna zoom in so that you can see a little bit better. Let's start here at this top kind of triangular shape. This petal is very dark. I'm going to start with my 2B pencil and then switch to my 6B to darken things up later. When you shade, make sure you hold your pencil really far back. Don't hold your pencil like you're writing. You want to hold your pencil farther back so you get the tip of your graphite flatter to your paper. I'm going to start by going over the edges with a darker value, and I want to maintain this crisp edge where I have my contour line, but you want to eliminate the line so that it turns into your value. My goal is to shade this without any kind of smudging or tortillon. So you want to create really smooth, even tonal shading just with your pencil. Make sure all of this is a value that's about a number 5. Don't have any dark edge or contour line around this shape. Next, we're going to go down to this petal. We want this value to stay lighter, and we're going to add a shadow behind this contour line. I want this value to fade or be a graded value, so it will gradually go from my number 5 to my number 4 to my number 3 to my number 2. And again, I'm going all the way to that edge where I have my very light contour line, and I want my value just to stop right at that contour line without getting any darker. It helps to go back in a different direction to kind of blend out some of your lines if you have any streaks. Next, let's go to this petal. So again, I'm going to want to eliminate my contour line. Decide which side of your contour line is darker. So obviously this side is darker. So I need to keep this left side of my contour line light and push the dark value on this right side. Our goal is to not use an eraser, so try to remember to preserve your number 1s, your highlights, or your lightest values. Again, fade your value from your number 5 to your number 4 to your number 3 to your number 2, and then into your number 1 as your highlight. Everything should be very smooth and gradual. You shouldn't have any sudden changes of value. On this petal, the right side again is darker. Keep approaching all of your petals this way, looking at your contour line and seeing which side of your contour line is lighter and which side is darker, and keep fading your values from darker into your lighter value. You can see these look a little bit different. This is a different type of paper. This paper has more tooth, so the value appears a little bit different. This paper is smooth, so everything looks a lot smoother. Another tip is to place a sheet of paper under your hand. This prevents your hand from smudging as you shade around your drawing. And I'm still using my 2B pencil. Also note that when you are looking at either side of your contour line, it might be the underneath side where your cast shadow is that you have the darker edge. Note that when you're shading the stem, it is similar to a cylinder. So you want to have the left side darker and then fade that around. Even though this cylinder is very small, you still want that graded value that goes from dark to light. And then on that very right side, go back and add your number 2. Even though I'm using very light shading, make sure you still have a crisp edge. So you don't want the edge to look fuzzy. You want to have this hard, sharp, crisp edge. You just don't want to have that outline. On this leaf, I'm going to put a number 3 value over the entire leaf, and then I'm going to go back and darken some of those areas. Make sure you keep that crisp edge. Notice how I'm also shading with the direction of this leaf, and that is going to help make this appear a lot smoother. After I get my value blocked in, then go back and add your darker values. Again, make sure that you don't have an outline on the edge where you had your contour line. To get this very smooth transition from your darker to your middle to your light values, make sure that you're really paying attention to the pressure you're applying. So obviously where the value is dark, I'm applying more pressure, and then I'm very gradually lessening the pressure to get that really smooth transition between those values. Notice how my shading is still following the form. So I'm shading in the same direction that this ribbon is going. Go back and add the cast shadows to areas you haven't already. The light source is directly over the paper. This is already looking fairly dimensional. As I finish up, I want to go back and see if I have any of those contour lines that I can eliminate a little bit more. So for example, here I can push this value darker where the stem is behind this leaf. Make sure as you're eliminating contour lines that you're not kind of like making a halo on the contour edge though. You should still have a crisp edge that just doesn't look like a line. So over here I have a couple of these areas that I can just fade my value into this contour edge so that it's a crisp edge with no contour line. Next, I'm going to use my 6B pencil, and wherever I have really dark areas, I'm going to go back and punch up those darker areas to get those even darker than they already are. So you could go ahead and do the really dark areas with a 6B pencil. I often just go back at the end with my 6B. If you jump in right away with a 6B, it can get really smudgy. So I like to go back at the end and add my dark values. I also can get pretty dark with just my 2B. By eliminating your contour line and pushing one side of that contour line darker, this petal here really looks like it's on top of this petal here. We have the cast shadow and then we have these darker values, so this creates a very convincing sense of depth and overlapping. As you finish up, make sure that you have, again, eliminated all of your contour lines. You have your smooth graded values from a number 8 as your dark to a number 1 as your light. You should have all of your values represented evenly around your drawing. So I should have dark areas scattered throughout, and I should have light areas scattered throughout, and everything in between. Again, make sure that you go back and look at your value scale to see all of those values, and also think about your forms and how from your basic forms we can create more complex drawings like this.